I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining,
the show where we break the fourth wall.
We're breaking the fourth wall. Are we looking directly at the camera?
I find that difficult to believe that you would willingly do that because you hate it.
How do you break the fourth wall in a podcast?
All good questions. One question, really.
Yeah, mine was a statement.
Yeah, fuck your statement.
Sometimes you have to break the fourth wall. It's mandatory.
Like, in what instance? Give me an example.
Deadpool.
Okay.
Does he have to break the fourth wall?
Would he be Deadpool if he didn't?
I mean, I think you can make an argument.
Yeah, but isn't part of his whole shtick that he is always at least leaning, if not occasionally breaking the fourth wall?
Currently, yes, but originally, no. On introduction, he was kind of just a guy.
I know that. I am aware of that. But, didn't that complete the character?
Yes.
Because otherwise he would have just stayed a guy.
I mean, that kind of came along with, the entire personality. So,
yeah.
Yes.
So you can't write Deadpool without having him...
Well, you can't write him well.
True.
But yeah, I guess that was a gimme, so...
Yeah, That's
on me for setting the bar so low.
We've been watching... I feel like that's really even cheap of John to even bother with, but hey. We've started watching Deadpool on our continuing...
Fox Marvel movies!
Well, X-Men-ish.
Well, yeah.
X-Men related movies.
It's an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
It has Colossus in it.
That's true.
It has the only valid Colossus in it.
John feels very strongly about the Colossi in the X-Men films.
Yeah, because I only really remembered the Deadpool Colossus and not the Pete Rasputin.
Well, he's the only one that's memorable, so...
Yes, he is. So I do have feelings about it.
Okay.
Slowly but surely, we're getting up there in our X-Men watch-throughs.
God, we're gonna run out of X-Men movies.
Eventually.
Then we'll just watch something else.
The MCU from the beginning!
Ripley and I have done that.
Ooh,
we have.
Including the television shows?
No. It was before Endgame, right? Or was it before Infinity War?
It was before... No, it was Infinity War.
You know, before Infinity War, that was kind of when you could easily do it.
Yeah.
Back before there were...
The TV shows.
Yeah, there were tons and tons of deeply integrated TV shows.
Yeah.
Now I don't even like the idea of actually doing that. I've done it. I've done this thing. It was fun back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now it feels like it'd be a slog.
It's a chore. Especially because you have to watch fucking Secret Invasion, which was
God.
absolutely terrible.
I didn't watch it. You
Good.
watched it?
Yes, I did. It was awful.
I watched it. Secret Invasion and its terrible AI opening.
God. It was bad.
They really did do that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I'm really bad at watching TV shows. I say, I'm not binging Star Trek The Next Generation right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's Star Trek The Next Generation. That's not TV. Not modern TV, anyway.
Yeah, we were talking about how much longer seasons were back then.
Oh, yeah. 26 episodes was normal.
You don't even have to go that far back.
No, you don't.
See. Babylon 5 got 22 a season. I want to say Stargate SG-1 was a 24.
Everything was long seasons pretty much up until Netflix.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back then, you actually got character growth. You just got to have characters go through things. They just got to experience shit.
And the story was actually well-paced and not fucking frantic constantly.
Yeah. And back in the really old days, it really was just about characters going through a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't building to anything. This is just what happens.
What happens if we put a guy in a situation?
Yeah. And we regularly put this guy in situations.
So tune in next week.
For another situation for this guy. And people tuned in. People tuned in sometimes by the tens of millions.
That's where the Monster of the Week format came from.
Yeah. They tuned... at the high end, people were tuning in at like 30 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Cheers was a show that was at times watched by something like 30 million people at the same time. Netflix killed that stone dead.
Oh, yeah. Besides the decline of our culture.
That sure is a cover.
Yeah.
Well, before we can get to that, I'm going to need you guys to tell me what happened last time.
Yeah, we finished Magic.
Yeah, Magic got out of limbo.
Well, that was the end.
Yeah, that's what happened.
You always cut directly to the end.
Well, in this case, it works.
Mean, yes, but if it was that easy, then Ripley wouldn't bother asking.
Right. If all you had to remember was the end.
The very end.
What? You mean I can't just go with that? I have to tell the weird story of,
Not in detail.
Ilyana's time, the life and times of Ilyana Rasputina and her time in limbo as the ward of a demon.
Well, yeah, so, Belasco had her again. He captured her.
Yeah, because Kat was not the smartest.
No, not the most able guardian, as it turned out. And he was, like, teaching her dark magic, I guess, and she didn't really want to be there.
But she was kinda into it on some level.
She was into the magic, I think, not so much the evil part.
It scared her.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it was mostly just her kind of exploring her abilities and going through, like...
She gets her portal gun.
An emotional arc where she's like, am I corrupted beyond salvation? Am I, like, evil? I don't know. Basically, for 2 issues.
And she ends up not killing Belasco.
Well, that's at the end.
Yeah, but, like, there's so...
First, Storm shows up to try and rescue her.
See, there's just that the chronology is hard, because she bounces around time, she ends up in a tunnel, gets hit, her bed gets hit by a car.
Storm showed up, old Storm, showed up to try to rescue her, she failed, and then Belasco was gonna have Ilyana
do a ritual in front of her. Instead, Ilyana kills her, and Belasco is very unhappy about this development.
So he grounds her to a frozen wasteland.
Where she can't even die.
Yeah.
Cat died somewhere in all this.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Also Nightcrawler died at some point, didn't he?
Nightcrawler died the episode before that.
Yeah, okay. He is already dead.
Okay. Well, anyway. So she spent like a really long time just kind of hanging out in...
Trying to do magic.
In, like, the wilderness, because he was mad at her and didn't really set any parameters to this punishment.
Except, you are going to suffer. You will not die.
Mm-hmm. But then she, I guess, figured out that the problem was that she was trying to do magic the way Storm did it, and she had to do her own thing.
And her thing is vengeance.
Yeah. So, she escaped. She made a sword.
Yep, she created a soul sword.
A very skinny sword.
Yeah. It's not the sword that I'm familiar with, but that's
Same.
okay. She escaped. She went back to Belasco's castle to fight him.
Started whooping his ass.
Yeah, whooping his ass. She
beat him so hard, she beat the demon out of him.
Yeah, like, the elder gods that he serves, I guess, decided that they like her more.
Yeah. And then she doesn't kill him. He's very upset about that.
She got very close to killing him, and she also went kind of demon-y for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But then she decided not to kill him, and she just left.
Yeah.
She decided, I'm gonna go home now. And so she did, and that was the point where we met the older Ilyana.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when.
Yep. That's the point where she came back out.
And then at the very end of the issue, because this is current Ilyana, she's like reminiscing about all this.
Because this has all been a flashback.
It's all been a flashback. So, in the present, she decides to go hang out with the New Mutants, I guess.
Well, they're outside. They're having a snowball fight.
Why doesn't she join? They're about her age, in theory.
Alright, well, first up for us this week is New Mutants 14 from December of 1983, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Sal Buscema, inked by Tom Mandrake, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Tom Orzechowski with a cover by Tom Mandrake.
I see a Sim.
Our favorite little guy.
Yeah.
His vest isn't as short.
Our favorite.
He's also huge.
He's enormous.
In this panel.
Uh-huh, and his face looks different.
Our favorite exotic dancer at a gay bar.
Well, we're going to pick up literally where we left off last time.
Wow.
Yep.
Ilyana Rasputina, staring down at her locket, pondering the fate Belasco had in mind for her, serving as a tool of the Elder Gods in their conquest of the universe.
Etc., etc.
Yep.
You know, you could just tell someone about that. Like, I feel like Doctor Strange would be...
She doesn't know Doctor Strange.
I know, but if she told the Professor X, he
Professor X knows Doctor
Yes.
Strange.
That's true.
If she told Professor X what her problem was, he would hook her up with, like, someone who actually has knowledge about magic.
Okay, but she's a teenager.
Yeah.
Fair.
She doesn't trust him.
And why should she?
Exactly.
It's Professor X.
Exactly.
No one should trust him.
Here on her 15th birthday, she's at something of a crossroads in her life, trying to decide in which direction to turn. Does she learn to use her mutant powers like her brother? Try to return home again and explain the truth to her parents again?
Yeah, that would go really well. Oh yeah, that also happened. Didn't it?
Yep.
Well, that's the
Although
question.
I wasn't clear if that was real or not.
Neither am I, and I think that's the point.
Yeah.
No, I think it was real, actually.
Oh, that's horrible.
Wonderful.
Does she do something else? It doesn't help that dangling over her head is the inevitable confrontation when Belasco will come back for her to attempt to extract the remaining bloodstones from her soul. One or the other of them has to die, and she's not certain which would be better. Just then, it begins to snow, and we're right back where we left off.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we're literally where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
Right where she runs into the New Mutants engaged in a snowball fight. The book slows down for a moment to introduce the heroes of the issue to us, and Ilyana dwells for a moment on Amara, feeling a certain kinship to her fish-out-of-water status.
Mm-hmm.
That just leaves Danny, whose thoughts also dwell on the downhearted-looking Amara. She thinks she can cheer her up, though, and so she uses her powers, delving into the girl's mind for a positive image and coming up with a palm tree.
She has not been super stoked about people going into her fucking brain before.
Yeah.
Danny.
Though it's probably...
Maybe you should ask.
Though it is probably better if it's Danny than if it's Charles.
I guess.
Well, she's not upset, though. She is pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
You see, something happened with Roberto beneath this very tree.
Ooh.
I'd know that tree anywhere.
Yes, that specific tree.
Uh-huh.
But
it has our initials carved into it.
But back with Ilyana, she's not really sure how to engage with the other kids. The only person she really is able to be herself around is Kitty, and Kit Kat's not here right now, away with the X-Men. Also watching the shenanigans out the window is Charles Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Though truth be told, he's more concerned with Ilyana.
Good.
He can't read her mind after all.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that all sides prize privacy above all else.
Yeah, sure.
Lol.
He's such a hypocrite.
Constantly.
He's worried about exactly what happened in Limbo that she's trying so hard to hide.
So I gotta know, is Chris Claremont making him a hypocrite, or is he just a hypocrite himself about this? Because in, like, what, an issue ago in New Mutants, he had Charles literally say that size value privacy, and now Charles is worried about the fact that he can't read his mind.
But also, considering that issue, Charles said that immediately before revealing that he had plundered Amara's memory to make her room.
I know. That's what I want to know. I want to know, is Charles Xavier meant to be a hypocrite?
I don't know. Ripley?
I feel like you can make a case for that.
Because I think he is. At this point, I think he is meant to be a hypocrite. This is no longer Stan Lee just stumbling around with whatever he thinks sounds neat at the moment.
God.
Because that's how he worked. If he made his characters hypocrites, well, that was an accident. Because he didn't really care that much about the characterization as much as neat things happen.
I don't know. I'd say he cares about the characterization.
Stan was pretty revolutionary about actually centering the characters and their inner lives. So, not sure I agree with that.
I don't know. I guess I expect a higher level of consistency than Stan.
Yeah.
Which, okay, to be fair, yeah, it may have been revolutionary at the time.
Yeah.
It's that problem where if you watch Seinfeld now, it seems kind of boring because everyone's done it better. It was revolutionary then. It's been done better now.
I think you can still appreciate what Stan was doing.
God,
it just has its own silly Silver Age charm to it.
Probably consume some other Silver Age comics for a taste of the alternatives.
Even as the kids play down below, they manage to catch notice of the professor's intense gaze and wonder what's the deal with that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Amara supposes that it's Lalandra's departure, which gets Roberto goofing around, acting as if he's unclear that the professor has a girlfriend for some reason, like she wasn't here living with them.
Right?
Hey, Roberto? Xavier fucks. Like, you're gonna have to live with that fact.
It gets him shoved in the snow.
Good.
But then the kids get to brainstorming how to get Chuck out of his funk. Coming up with the idea to somehow host a surprise party for a telepath in his own house.
Okay.
That's a neat trick.
Yeah,
they can pull it off.
With a plan to get supplies when they go into town. They invite Ilyana to join in the festivities, and she's down. All present, unaware that from the shadows, Sim watches, awaiting his moment to strike.
Dun, dun, dun.
Evil, evil Sim.
At dance class, the kids talk Stevie into helping out with their plan, driving them about to pick up supplies. Just then, Doug Ramsey rushes in, looking for Kitty. But unfortunately, our little ex-friend is out of town. He's got an important message to pass on. Unfortunately, he doesn't elaborate beyond that.
Okay.
Well, it better not be the feds on their ass for for having committed crimes against the state.
Yeah.
Good news, Kitty!
Yeah.
I talked to some guys in suits. They were real interested in how good I am at computers.
Yeah, and they're really interested in how good you are at computers, too.
This is a great opportunity.
They really want to give us jobs.
The kids all then pile into their dance teacher's car and head over to the mall, still under reconstruction after their throwdown with the Sentinels.
I can't believe that they would want to go back there.
I'm kind of impressed they're rebuilding it.
It's not like the mall did anything to them.
Yeah, and I suppose it's still in the era of thriving malls.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, your comment was very...
I don't know, I'm so used to the dead mall world that...
yeah, well, malls used to be a thing.
Yeah, I can barely remember that world.
Well, I was a mall goth as a kid, so...
They don't realize until they're walking out of the shop, Sam's arms piled full of bags, that it's Ilyana's birthday. When Rain slows up a bit, Sam stumbles right into her, and both of them are a bit tense about it. But the tension is quickly cut when Diana, their friend from town, calls over to them, and they introduce the newbie of the bunch. Back at the mansion, Charles is working on figuring out what happened to Ilyana. You know, after letting it simmer for a year.
Right?
just been sitting on this whole deal that, he mentioned Stephen Strange in his mind!
Oh my god.
Yep. In his books, he's found a few references to a Belasco, an ancient demonologist, but only a few references. He's going to need some more specialized knowledge if he's going to get to the bottom of this, so his next thought is to get in touch with one of the sorcerers he knows, either Doctor Strange, or perhaps Nightcrawler's adoptive mother, Margali Sardos. Before he can act on that, though, he senses a faint presence and wheels over to the door to investigate, only to be met by Sim.
Ah,
G'day, Prof.
God.
God,
Okay.
is Sim Australian?
I was just about to say, now I'm imagining him with an Australian accent.
Canon.
Australian Sim at the Australian gay club.
He tries a mind blast, but it doesn't stop the demon at all. Rather, he just savagely backhands the professor, sending him flying out of his chair.
I'm shocked that a mind blast does not slow down a demon.
I know. I mean, for Chuck, that's probably pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this usually works.
This usually works on people. Why isn't it working? Oh, he might not be a people.
Sim can be a people if he wants.
Yes, he can. Sim has rights.
The kids try calling from the mall to see if Charles is still in, but there's no answer, so it's still unresolved by the time they get home if they can sneak their supplies inside the house. After all, Xavier could read their minds at any time, despite the fact that all size prize privacy. He said it himself.
He did say it.
Ilyana then volunteers to scope out the house, fully aware that the professor can't read her mind.
Read, yes, but what about know it's there?
Does it really matter if
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like, what's the
she lives there?
Yeah, but what's like the range of okay, so if they're just hanging out in front of the house and Ilyana goes in, there's not like line of sight rules or something.
Look, I don't think that they understand that or have thought of that, okay?
Okay, fair. But they already are kind of paranoid about him.
Yeah, but they're kids.
True.
As she heads in, the kids get to gossiping about the birthday girl, largely prompted by Amara's asking questions. She doesn't know what Ilyana's deal is, which, to be fair, no one knows what Ilyana's deal is.
Yeah.
Because Ilyana hasn't shared, which is understandable.
But something about her nature reminds Aquila of Celine. And it's not just her that has the heebie-jeebies about her either. Ilyana, still able to hear the words, since they didn't fucking bother to wait to have this discussion until she was in the house.
Teenagers.
She's stung, while still being able to acknowledge a certain truth to their words. As she enters the house, her thoughts remain on that conversation outside. Part of the girl feels she should leave to avoid her corruption infecting those she loves. One of which, young Kitty Pryde, is the one person who's made her feel comfortable here. As she explores, her thoughts remain on her fondness for Pryde and her appreciation for how the youngest X-Man treats her.
Yeah, this is starting to get a certain way.
It's yeah.
Hey.
I'm aware that there is a thing there.
Hey, Ilyana, this is starting to go beyond friendship. Just saying.
It's fine.
Slowly she's gripped by a sense of unease. Sure, she was sent in to scout out the house to see if the coast was clear, and it does seem so far to be, but things are too quiet for her liking.
It's quiet.
Too quiet. She's about to turn back to get the others when suddenly Sim grabs her by the arm.
Ah, fuck. This guy.
He's come to bring her back to Belasco, and in her fear, all spells vacate her mind, leaving her helpless to do anything but cry out. At least for a moment, until she reflexively reaches out for her mutant powers. Outside, a giant stepping disc formed underneath the car and the new mutants both, teleporting her young friends first to Limbo, where we see the other side of the interaction from Magic number 3.
Yeah.
Spotting a young Ilyana only for a moment before a second disc brings them all inside the house.
Who brought the car in the house?
Okay, but didn't they hit her bed with the car?
Yes.
They were driving the car.
Yes.
In the other issue.
Yes.
Hey, Chris.
Give better directions.
They don't know exactly what they're dealing with Sim. All they know is he's got Rasputina, currently squeezing the breath out of the girl, and they're not going to let that stand. First to move in is Cannonball.
Of course.
He kicks on his blast field and jets right at the demon, only to bounce right off his hard flesh,
Boing!
knocking the Kentucky boy flat. Next up is the other team powerhouse, Sunspot, fully aware that he's going to have to pull this off because the girls don't have the muscle to take on this foe.
Yeah, sure is interesting how the girls on the team are, not physically based powers.
Mm-hmm.
Always, every time, constantly.
I don't know, Rain is a wolf.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, but that's not
Still
really,
not really.
the same as these two.
Yeah.
Where's a girl who can hit as hard as Roberto?
Berto charges in with a mighty right hook, but that's insufficient too, and Sim belts him back across the room, out the window, and into a snowbank.
Oof.
Oofa doofa.
Even though she knows it's useless, Wolfsbane decides to take a turn at bat, only to get tail swatted away by the demon, leaving only Magma and a very frustrated Mirage. Because rather than fighting as a team, they're taking on Sim one by one.
I mean, yeah, I was literally just thinking
Guys, you are a team. You've been training.
Yeah, but I don't know how much Professor Xavier has been working on training them as fighting as a team,
That's
right?
true.
Also,
I mean, the whole point is
fair.
they're not X-Men. They're
Also-
not supposed to be going out on missions.
Also, their leader went missing. So...
Danny comes up with a quick plan on the fly, ordering Amara to hold off while she creates a spirit form of the demon's greatest fear, and only then can she strike. At first she's relieved to find that the demon is actually afraid of something, but that doesn't last. Because, if a demon's afraid of it, it's probably... When a giant image of Belasco fills the room, chiding him for his failure in his task, Sim protests his loyalty, only for the image to morph into that of a demonized Ilyana, the dark child of Limbo, swearing to make him pay for his betrayal.
Ooh.
In his panic, Sim drops Ilyana, and Stevie sees her chance.
So Sim definitely has an inner life. This is a pretty complex fear, to be perfectly honest. Sim totally belongs at the club.
Yeah.
Stevie rushes forward to drag Ilyana out of the fray, while ordering the kids to get clear as soon as she's out of there. Finally, it's Amara's turn to strike. A small volcano forms in the living room.
What?
Okay.
And it doesn't start a fire.
I kind of figured that she would just, shoot fire and lava, but okay.
Nope, volcano.
Volcano in the
Literally.
house.
Her power is volcano. Alright, cool, thanks. Love it.
This showers the demon with lava before she cools it to leave him encased. Or so it seems, if only for a moment, because an instant later, Sim taps the girl on the shoulder, taking the wind right out of her sails.
He's so extra!
Yeah.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's way more interesting than Belasco is.
Yes, he is.
Belasco's kind of lame.
Belasco's a whiny crybaby who likes having power. Sim is an extra bitch.
Well, I'm glad you like him, because he's going to be around.
Yay.
Meanwhile, Stevie takes the elevator down to the Magna cars leading to the hangar so she can call the X-Men, a limp Ilyana slung over her shoulder. The doors open and it seems like she's got a light at the end of the tunnel, when her good fortune begins to reverse. The elevator starts rising up in hefty jerks, pulled up by Sim.
Oh.
With no other option, she makes the leap out the still open door, painfully landing on the ground. They're not out of danger yet, though. Stevie hears the crash of Sim landing on the roof of the car behind them, and gets to her feet, painfully hobbling down the hall, Ilyana still slung over her shoulder.
Damn.
Stevie.
Goat here.
She always is.
That's fair.
That's when her bum knee gives out and both women collapse to the floor,
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
allowing Sim to catch up. He's just about to kill Stevie for her interference when a spell hits him full in the face. Ilyana's finally returned to consciousness, and she's got some fire in her gut.
She's pissed.
Whether or not that will save her from Sim's wrath remains to be seen. First she binds him with mystic chains, but they don't hold. Next, another spell attempts to hold him back, but the demon presses ever forward, backing Rasputina into a corner. Everything is proceeding according to Keikaku. Now nearly within arm's reach, she finally plays her master stroke, summoning her soul sword and bringing it to the demon's neck.
Ooh.
Okay, we're leaning into the lightsaberness of it, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Sim pleads for mercy, despite the lack he showed for the doomed X-Men, and Ilyana grants him his life, for a price. If the demon serves her instead, she'll allow him to live.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Given that Belasco hit the bricks anyway, Sim agrees.
Oh my god.
So he's freelancing already.
For he turns his attention back to Stevie, noting that she's seen too much.
Ooh.
He could kill her, should Ilyana want. But what Ilyana wants is him the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
So she summons up a stepping disc and sends the demon on his way. That still leaves the matter of the, frankly, shocked Stevie, though.
Yeah. Fair.
Ilyana gives a brief explanation of what happened to the dead X-Men Sim was talking about. But that's mostly because a moment later,
Oh.
she alters the dance teacher's memories, wiping away her recollection of Ilyana's sorceress ways, leaving just a memory of her saving the day with her teleport circles. When the X-Men get home, they're a bit stunned to see the mess in the living room, as the new mutants have their little party. Not too stunned to join in, though. They've seen weirder.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, at least the house is still here.
Yeah.
As the party goes on, Xavier takes Ilyana aside, congratulating her on a job well done against Sim, and opening the door to talking about her time in Limbo should she ever need to. She's not interested right now, but that's okay. What the professor would really like is a dance with the youngster. It takes her a moment to register what's going on. Charles is walking.
Oh.
Ooh. Yay.
All present celebrate until Kitty realizes there's a familiar face peering in through the window. It's Doug Ramsey being super normal because he didn't want to intrude.
Doug, what the fuck?
Doug?
That's so creepy.
Doug, what the fuck are you doing?
He questions the mountain in the living room, but Kit Kat just brushes it off. Doug, though, has to get to his exciting news. He's been offered a full scholarship to the Massachusetts Academy, and he'd like Kitty to come along for his interview, as she too was once accepted there.
Oh no.
And Pride's heart drops into her stomach. How'd y'all like that?
3. It was okay.
Yeah, it's a hard one to judge. But I think I'll go with a 3 as well.
Yeah, I think I'm at a 3 as well. Nothing really too much to stand out
Yeah.
apart from the pack. So I can't justify it taking it any higher. But it's still nice to see Ilyana finally getting integrated into...
She's not just living in the background.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think Samaro thought?
They're a lot less kind to New Mutants than they are to regular X-Men from this era. 2.5? 2.75?
I was gonna say 2.5.
3.72.
Oh.
Shit.
Damn. Okay.
Thus again proving that we don't know what Ciamaro thinks about anything.
Ooh.
Next up for us is Uncanny X-Men 180 from January of 1984. Happy New Year!
Yay!
It's written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Romita Jr., inked by Dan Green and Bob Wysack, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Tom Orzechowski, with a cover by John Romita Jr. and Dan Green. We find Charles Xavier making the best of his newly recovered legs, lining up to shoot a three-pointer in the school gymnasium.
Wow.
You really have to read both if you want to know what's going on in the life and times of Charles Xavier.
They're pretty well intertwined. That's why I wanted to do it the way I'm doing it rather than just reading X-Men.
No, I get it. You can't get this full story at the moment without touching both.
I agree. I mean, the first time I read through without reading New Mutants. And
a bunch of stuff happened out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, suddenly Xavier's up and about. I'm sure this is relatively minor compared to some of the other events.
I mean, they'd been hinting at him trying to get up and going, so that wasn't such a huge thing. He sinks the shot right in the basket, and the man is really having fun with it, indulging in fancy footwork as he approaches the basket for another shot.
Oh my god.
Well, he's got a clone body that's in perfect health.
True.
Wouldn't you do that if you had a fresh clone body that's in perfect health?
Maybe. I don't... Probably
No, I'm
not.
bad at basketball.
Yeah.
Do you think he was good at basketball?
Yes. He was in sports.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
I guess
backstory.
I don't remember this.
Okay.
This shot's not to be, and it bounces off the rim. He's just about to try again when he's struck by another pass of the scanning wave that's been causing him so much trouble.
Ugh.
He cries out, collapsing to the ground, clutching his head. The pain passes relatively quickly this time, but leaves him so strained that he fails to notice the approach of one of his students.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It's Storm, concerned after hearing his outcry.
Yeah.
Oh, but she's still got that excellent outfit.
Well, yeah.
I know, it's been a while.
She cautions him from getting carried away, given the newness of his legs, before asking about his obvious love of athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
As you may recall, and Candace definitely did, it's an old passion he had to give up.
Yep.
His telepathy gave him too much of an advantage over the other players.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
So he could tell what they were going to do.
Huh.
Aurora can relate to that feeling of loss in the face of responsibility for her powers. Grimly, she mourns the original sense of wonder her mastery over the weather once granted her. Her sudden turn concerning the professor. He asks if she's all right. This unlocks Aurora's recent frustration with Kitty.
Yeah.
And her concerns with her own changes. Charles has an response to himself.
What?
Thinking about how he just noticed Storm is hot.
What?
Okay. Chuck?
What? What?
He reassures her that there's no shame in acting human versus the goddess she'd once seemed to be. But Monroe's doubts remain. She's more worried about the internal changes than the external ones. How she nearly killed Callisto twice now without a second thought, where her vow to life would have once made such a thing impossible. She worries that she's losing it. But that's one place where having a telepath around could come in handy.
I have seen these panels on Tumblr.
I have not, but I can see why you have.
They
Oh
are
my God.
so stupid.
With no hesitation, Charles reaches out to scan her mind, finding no mental illness.
Sure.
Declares her with no mental illness, completely ignoring the fucking clinical claustrophobia caused by post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right, and the PTSD flashbacks that come along with it.
You know, maybe...
No mental illness!
Maybe he doesn't know what he's looking for.
I think
He
that's
does!
entirely...
He has a degree in, psychology.
That's true.
Hey, there are plenty of college graduates who don't know shit.
Charles Xavier, you are an idiot.
Yes. Dumbest smart man
I
ever.
mean, he could also just be lying.
Of course, to get a definitive read on her mental health, he'd have to do a more intensive scan. But Aurora declined, preferring to figure things out on her own. Meanwhile, we find Doug Ramsey and Kitty Pryde at one of the local arcades, going ham on one of the machines.
Remember when these were a thing, folks?
Kitty is, kind of a nerd. More
Yeah.
than I thought she would be.
Yeah, she is.
Why did she grow out of it? That's lame.
Yeah.
Let her be a grown-up nerd. Come on.
Kitty gets one last attack in and the score rolls over to 0, causing the machine to glitch out.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
That's when the arcade owner shows up behind the kids to give them the boot, tired of them hogging his machines for hours on end on a single quarter.
Ah, yeah, that's the problem. They're not paying.
Yeah.
Bad for business, you know.
Well, of course. Hey, they're supposed to feed the machine, but it's also your job, Mr. Owner Guy, to set the dip switches so it's harder to play.
He bans the pair from returning.
Oh boy.
Something that's apparently happened at all of the other local arcades, too.
Oh boy.
Wow.
So they head out into the mall.
Kitty, professional gamer.
Yes. Kitty Pryde, pro gamer.
She's got a cat ears headset.
She would. She absolutely would.
Because she's Kitty.
Yeah.
Of course. Come on. The more we see this stuff, the more trouble I have believing in the future vision I've seen of her.
Well, I think that's because at this point it's Chris writing about a girl that he would like.
God. But this is also a kind of girl that existed and exists.
Yes.
Whereas, just because it might have been Chris projecting things.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying that in the future, other writers have different priorities.
Less interesting ones for her.
Yes. Certainly.
Hungry after a marathon gaming sesh, the kids head to McDick's for some burger and fries.
What now?
McDick's.
McDonald's.
I've never heard of McDick's.
You've never heard anybody call it McDick's?
I have not either.
No.
I thought that was what it was actually called in the comic.
Yeah, is this the...
I didn't even blink an eye about it because,
legally distinct?
I grew up watching anime, and they do that shit all the time.
Whack-Donald's.
Yes.
And more and more mangled misspellings of McDonald's.
But yes, no, I have never heard anyone in real life call it McDick's ever.
Are we just too sheltered?
I guess.
The pair get to talking. You see, Doug's noticed Kit Kat's been in a funk lately, and he started wondering if it's his fault.
Jesus.
Kitty's quick to reassure him that she likes him a lot, it's not him at all, it's Aurora.
Uh-huh.
She's still not over the changes her mother figure has undergone.
Yeah.
It's probably at least partially because she threw all of her faith in Roro after the dissolution of her parents' marriage.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes Kitty Pryde making bad choices with her life. The story.
But the loss of her friend's gentle serenity has shaken the girl, shifting her feelings towards Aurora.
I mean, I feel I must emphasize she still has parents.
Yes. Yes.
She's just being weird about it.
Hey, Kitty, remember, you do have parents. Just remember that fact.
Unlike some people.
Unlike Ileana Rasputina listening to Kitty Pryde complain about her parents.
Constantly.
Thinking about the horrible things that happened in Limbo. Just
the fact that her parents literally rejected her.
Yeah, she literally got rejected by her parents. She watched her friends die. But this girl has it rough.
Oh yeah. Divorce is so hard.
Yeah, divorce. It's so much of a strain.
It's like she doesn't even have parents anymore. Oh my god.
It's like they die or something. But only like they die. It's not like they actually die. But it's worse.
It's not fair, she proclaims, not at all childishly.
Oh my god, Kitty! Not beating the allegations.
Yeah.
She fears these changes are permanent, and that she's truly lost her friend. Doug reaches out to take her hand, reassuring her that she's always got him.
Jesus Christ, she hasn't lost her friend. Aurora still likes her.
See, I was just going to talk about how Doug clearly has the hots for her, and I really wish that Chris would use this opportunity to stop with the Colossus thing, but he's not going to.
I know.
Rest assured you're almost out of the hell of them actually being in a relationship.
Fantastic.
For now.
For now. He then goes on to give her the good news of his interview at the Massachusetts Academy again for those readers who aren't reading New Mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta keep people up to date, just in case they don't read it.
Apparently forgetfully re-inviting Kitty along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not keeping track of what's happening where.
She doesn't let on her concerns, though they are many. Meanwhile, back at the school, one of the trees on the grounds meets with an axe.
Uh-huh.
Rip that tree, apparently.
It's Pyotr Rasputin tackling the task one-handed, the other arm still in a sling after the attack by the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Woof.
I guess the Morlock healer just didn't bother with that one?
Yeah, what's up with that? He was kind of roughly, evenly cooked.
After the tree falls, she gets some praise from a nearby Logan who's just been sitting by with a beer watching him work.
Enjoying the view.
Hey, Wolverine? Wolverine, you're also not beating the accusations.
Pete is unamused, inquiring if there isn't anything else he'd rather be doing. But Logan's plenty happy right where he is.
Really not beating the accusations. Man likes to watch a beefcake work.
Oh, God.
He's also got some truths to lay down on the surly Russian, who really came out here to try and escape his thoughts of Kitty. He longs for her, fully aware that back home things would have been different. He could have already started a family with the girl.
Ooh.
Woof.
Frustrated, he steals up and tosses the axe away. But Logan keeps his cool, encouraging Colossus to wait. After all, she loves him. She was willing to give her future away to the Morlocks to save him. But while that may be true, it's Doug Ramsey that's really got him riled.
Uh-huh.
Rip Doug Ramsey in the immediate future.
The boy makes him feel like a foreign hick to Kitty. And he feels perhaps it's time to abandon the dream she represented. To Logan, that's quitter's talk.
Oh, Logan.
Okay, the Russian who has different standards of what is age-appropriate for marriage, the man from the mysterious past
Oh, true. He's really old.
who doesn't have modern views on what the appropriate age appropriate for a relationship. This is not a great time for this conversation.
Wish Pyotr would talk to, like, Scott about this.
Man, imagine Scott.
Scott would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, but Scott's off having his happy ending.
Yes.
And that's all that's going to happen.
Yeah, we're never going to see him again.
Yes.
He's happy forever.
Let him be. Let him stay happy. Just let him. Let him have this. It's weird as fuck, but let him have this.
Chris wanted to.
He and Maddie are just gonna have a happy ever after.
Yeah. We don't need Scott to be right about anything. We can just let him be happily ever after.
We next catch up with Aurora Monroe at the Bronx Botanical Gardens, where she donated her plants after removing them from her attic room.
Ooh.
She's here to visit and get in touch with nature, something she'd thought lost to her. But it's become apparent to the X-Men that she still has a certain rapport with life.
Yeah.
Of course she does.
You don't change like that overnight.
Yeah, just because you're punk doesn't mean that you lose your contact with nature.
Punks are allowed to have plants.
Yeah, you can be a green thumb and a punk.
The thing is, while she can still feel nature's gentle touch, it doesn't matter as much to her. She's so torn between the woman she is and the person that she was, that she finds herself wondering how she so easily abandoned her earlier tenants. She's watering her plants when she hears someone cry out in fear, a target of the roving knife-wielding gang that apparently roams the greenhouse.
Okay.
So wait, the, New York Botanical Garden has roving gangs of thugs?
Knife-wielding thugs.
Storm's not going to stand for that, so she heads over to tell him to fuck off and leave the elderly couple be.
God.
Yeah.
The Rusher Street Rebels, as the gang call themselves.
Their turf is this greenhouse.
Good lord.
They're not about to just take that from some chick.
some chick. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So-
Also, her outfit, so good.
That fucks. That outfit fucks.
It always does.
Yeah, she's got, like, the stockings.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Fishnets.
Fishnets, short skirt, long coat. Well,
Short skirt
relatively
and
long coat.
Long jacket.
I mean, it's longer than her skirt.
Yeah.
Not by much, but enough.
Knife in hand, one of them rushes her, only to get judo thrown out of the window of the greenhouse.
You know those are kind of expensive.
Having not learned their buddy's lesson, the rest of the thugs too hold their knives aloft, ready to strike.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
With their training, along with the fact that they're largely fighting her one-on-one, these guys don't stand a chance.
Without even her powers.
Oh yeah. She kicks their asses with hand-to-hand alone, relying on skills taught to her by Wolverine.
Ooh.
As her finale, Aurora breaks out her powers, raising her arms to the heavens.
To make them shit themselves.
I cast shit yourself upon you.
Shit yourself at the 5th level.
Blinding flashes of lightning spark over the greenhouse, accompanied by earth-shaking eruptions of thunder. Finally, both Storm and the would-be muggers are engulfed in St. Elmo's fire. Her voice sounding out, demanding that they behave themselves from now on, or else. With their safety finally ensured, Aurora turns to the elderly couple to check in on them. But after her display, they're just as frightened of her as the gang, if not more. There's no time to dwell on the pain of the moment, though, for Xavier appears in her thoughts with an urgent summons.
I mean...
Not to hurt, as she thinks.
All my respect to you, Aurora, but I don't know how you thought that was gonna go, to be honest.
She wanted to help.
Well, yes, she wanted to help, but, like...
The coup de grace.
Yeah, I don't think, like, you can't do that and then have these normal-ass old people be like, cool, that was great.
That was normal and fun.
I liked it, actually.
Do it again! Do it again!
After Storm gets home, we find the reason for the summons is a team meeting. Kitty explains what's been going on with Doug's invitation to the Massachusetts Academy and her concerns for him. But there's also the fact that he invited her along as well.
Is that where Emma is?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Emma's, as far as we know, currently unconscious, asleep underneath the Hellfire Club.
Oh, right.
She had a whole thing happen, and now...
I completely forgot about that.
It's been a while.
But yes, the Massachusetts Academy is her school.
Okay.
She'd like to go and thinks the risk is fairly minimal, given that the Hellfire Club's been majorly cut down to just Sebastian and Emma, the latter of whom is still being a sleepy-time bitch.
Okay.
With Xavier monitoring her, she should be safe enough from any trouble, since he can just summon the whole team to her defense. X definitely wants to know what the school wants with Doug, given that he's a mutant and all.
What?
What?
A revelation that has that effect on pretty much everyone.
Yeah?
But flabbergasts Kit Kat. His gift is to understand languages, both human and computer. See, that's why he's so good at computers.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Because he Oh my god, I know this guy.
You know this guy?
Yes!
Oh, god damn it.
Fuck. I didn't know his name. I'm just familiar with him.
He's another one of the guys I think is autistic.
Yeah.
That's a mutant power. Autism.
We've been over this. Vaccines give you autism as well as mutation.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The plan isn't particularly well liked, but they do give it the go-ahead. And Kit Kat leaves, still wondering over the revelation of Doug's mutanthood. She'd like to tell him, but given that his isn't a power made for showy displays, the professor is advised otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Could he live his entire life without knowing he's a mutant?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, until a sentinel comes to try to murder him.
Right. Exactly.
The girl is lost in thought when suddenly a gust of wind sweeps her off her feet, down the hall, out the window, and miles into the air so she and Aurora might finally have a little talk.
Well, this is one way to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way Aurora can get her to actually listen, because otherwise she could just go through the wall.
That's true.
Kitty is not happy.
And well, that was
What else is new?
She's been not happy this whole time.
She finds this violent change of scenery just more evidence that Storm has changed. She confronts Aurora, asking the reason for the change, and Aurora's been thinking about this. Ever since becoming team leader, the concepts in her life that she held dearest began to come into conflict with the reality of her responsibilities. The potential need to sacrifice those she loved if it meant saving the world. It's something that had been growing in her for a long time, up until she had her gay awakening with Yukio and embraced the latest changes in her life.
Yeah.
Kitty does not like this answer, crying out in outrage.
Oh my god.
Kitty!
Kitty! I didn't know Kitty Pryde was anti-gay.
Just anti-lesbian.
You know,
because she's so deep in the closet.
You know, given what I know about her life in the future, I can actually believe that. Why else does she keep on dating men named Peter?
Internalized lesbophobia is a real thing that I personally have suffered from, so I completely get it.
We have the lesbian who is accepting herself for who she is, and the lesbian who never can.
I mean, I think they're both bi, but, you know. It's the idea, like...
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Kitty's afraid of the changes, likening them to her parents' divorce.
Ugh.
Jesus Christ.
Kitty!
Someone needs to fucking...
Shake her!
They need to read her the riot act for, like, other people are suffering worse.
Oh my god.
I know it's not a pity party, but for the love of God, there are worse things than divorce in the world.
It kind of is a pity party, though, because
she's the
makes
one
it
having
one.
it.
Exactly.
She's the one having the fucking pity party and treating divorce like the worst thing that could happen.
Right.
She insists that Aurora shouldn't change, but Aurora denies that and denies any right of Kitty to insist on such a thing.
Absolutely the case, yes,
God
true.
damn right it's not Kitty's right to demand people don't change.
And she reminds her that she's not her mother, despite moments when their relationship had approximated something like that. She insists that she must be allowed the freedom to grow and change, to take this journey of self-discovery, no matter how much she doesn't like some of the things she finds. And if Kitty loves her, she must let her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the pair hover in midair, Kit Kat hugs Aurora tight, confessing her fears are also for herself, and that this might happen to her, and that her love may not be forever.
I might be gay.
There's not much Aurora can do to help her with that, but she does, for the first time in her adult life, fully embrace her emotions, allowing smiling tears to come to her eyes as she strokes Kitty's back.
Aww.
What she really needs from Kitty is a friend, able to stand by her or let her go if need be. And hesitantly, Kit Kat agrees. The next week, Kitty and Doug board a private plane at LaGuardia Airport, seen off at the tarmac by Pride's friends.
Have I ever actually been to LaGuardia?
I have.
It's... Is that the one with the really epic view into New York?
I think that might be JFK, but I could be wrong.
Then I've been to JFK, not LaGuardia.
I haven't been to any of them.
Because mostly I landed in New Jersey, so you don't even see shit.
Yeah.
Joyzy.
I'm not rightfully sure.
Yeah, I think it was JFK.
Piotr is unusually stiff when it comes to seeing Kitty off. Something that even gets her crying a bit as she climbs the air stairs. Afraid she's done something wrong with Pete's sudden shift in behavior.
You know, I've actually gotten off a plane like this. It only happened once, but it was weird.
After the plane takes off, Kitty and Doug begin to chat, but Kitty's nerves are all over the place about the school. Then, from the front of the plane, a surprise. Emerging from behind the curtain leading to the cockpit steps Emma Frost.
What?
Maliciously delighted to see Kitty again.
Gasp.
Panicked, Kitty cries out for help over Xavier's telepathic rapport.
I'm sure that will definitely work.
Yeah.
Just as she departs, the X-Men book it for Manhattan, parking the Rolls outside of Central Park. It is here Charles has finally traced those near-crippling scanning waves to a massive structure that seems to have touched down in Sheep Meadow with no one noticing or caring.
Weird.
Odd.
They draw near to investigate, but the closer they get, the less they're able to resist the thing's inexorable pull.
Weird.
Until
Okay.
they disappear into its gaping maws, zapped to parts unknown.
Alright.
What do you mean Kitty Saga continues in New Mutants 15 on sale in 2 weeks, while the X-Men continues in The Secret Wars?
That's right, it's
On
Secret
sale
Wars
in-
time.
It's Secret Wars time.
Promises that I made in the past are coming back to haunt me.
Oh no.
Yep,
So that's why you were checking in with me about that.
yes.
Fuck.
I'm gonna have to actually read Secret Wars now.
Oh boy.
And all this before Kitty's call for help can reach the professor.
So
All of Secret Wars.
Secret Wars just sort of happens. I just assumed, the telepath in the plane would be able to block the telepathic message.
Yeah, that's not gonna be an issue.
Yeah, no, they're going through Secret Wars, actually.
So how'd you like that?
I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
4.
That was better.
I like these breathing room issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, really needed something between Aurora and Kitty.
God, yeah.
So yeah, 4.
Sitting here torn between a 3.75 and a 4.
Uh-huh.
3.89.
Oh, fuck you. Yeah, I guess I'll go with a 4 with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think CMRO thought?
4?
4.
4.2?
3.66.
Holy
Really?
shit.
Yeah, they liked that issue of New Mutants better.
What the fuck? It's not better, I'm sorry.
Maybe it's just better in what you're measuring it against when you're measuring it against what we've read of New Mutants so far versus...
Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? They're not really comparing it against the storyline. They're comparing it against New Mutants.
Then again, some of the people reading this are people who are not reading just for this.
That's true.
They're reading all kinds of stuff, so...
Some of the truly unhinged people...
Who are actually doing The Order.
Yes. Are trying to review everything. I can't imagine how that feels to do, but that's a thing.
Uh-huh. Some masochists do that.
Yeah.
Right, like I'm not already doing enough. Anyway, that's going to be it for us this week. We're going to be back next time with Secret Wars, which is going to begin our march towards the end of the season.
Yay.
That's where the season ends. That makes sense.
Yep, the end of Secret Wars.
How
Yay.
long is Secret Wars?
12 issues.
Yay.
Oofa
A
doofa.
full calendar year.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, like, goddamn.
They did Secret Wars for a year.
I don't think it justifies 12 issues, I'm going to be real with you. But hey, that's for each to decide on their own, and we're all going to be going through it.
Oh boy,
I
wait.
guess we'll go through it together.
So this is the shit with the Beyonder, right?
Yes.
So this is the shit where Peter Parker teaches the Beyonder how to shit.
No,
No.
that's Secret Wars 2.
Yay!
So we're not going to get Spider-Man teaching the Beyonder how to shit.
I'm sorry. I know that you feel very strongly about that.
I sure
It's
feel
literally-
strongly about it.
You bring it up like every time.
Look, it's like the only thing I know about the Beyonder, okay? Look, when you only know one thing about a character, that's what you think of. It just happens to be the dumbest thing.
You mean like how Hank Pym shrunk down into Janet Van Dyne's pussy?
When you only know one thing about a character, that's all you can think of.
Something doing Shadow of the Colossus shit to her pussy.
God. Oh my
He
God.
would.
Anyway, that's going to be it for us this week. If you could, leave down in the comments
what your favorite moment of the Beyonder is.
My favorite moment of the Beyonder is when he's not there.
True.
There's a lot of those moments.
There is. It's great.
Honestly, I will get there.
Oh boy. I'm gonna know so much more about the Beyonder! Yay!
Hey, it's handy to know these things.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the next time the Beyonder comes around, this time you'll know.
Oh no!
Anyway, yeah, leave down in the comments your favorite Beyonder moments. Not that we've gotten there yet, so you haven't formed any Beyonder moments with us yet. But hey.
We'll make new ones.
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. If you want to catch up with us on social media, we are over on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. If you'd like to shoot us an email, we are comicsplaining@gmail.com. And if you'd like to throw us a tip, we are over on Coffee. Other than that, we look forward to talking to you next time. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.